everyone. Let me get this picture out of the way. Where is it? There it is. Hey everyone.
Well, howdy, howdy.
So, yeah, I thought I'd try something different with the music. When I realized in the last show, when I watched it, you could hear the end of Dirt Patch Heaven's show on there. I was like, oh, whoops. So, anyway, yeah, the stream, I think we're just going to always be seeing it going in and out. It's showing yellow on our end. It was showing red a bit ago. It was green when we started. Who knows? So, like I said before, sometimes the best way to get past the buffering is to just, it may not always work, but you can try it. Just back up the stream a little bit, a few seconds, so you're not perfectly live, you know. And then you can usually get a little bit of a better play time. So we have our internet set up as best as we can, and it is what it is. So sorry about that, people. I'm actually surprised we do get as good internet as we do. So I just realized that where Mr. Rain is sitting, he's not exactly in the frame. There's this fat hand.
Talk to the hand. Hello.
But if it does get really bad to the point that we're just cutting out so bad that you're not getting anything, just go ahead and let us know, and I'll see if I can do a reboot. I'm nervous about doing that because I don't know what, I'm afraid of losing everything, but, and I don't know, when people reboot, do they just shut down their, if somebody let me know this. When people reboot, when they're having stream issues, do they shut down their OBS and start over, or do they shut down their YouTube and start over, or do they just shut it all down? I have no idea. So just in case it comes to that point where I need to do that, I would like to know. So right now I'm just jabbering to give people time to get in here before we get started on the topics of the evening. I have a few notes. I hope I remember everything. That's his best side. What, your fat hand?
Teresa was saying that's his shoulder, so that's my best side.
Well, at least it's your shoulder. My tea, I don't even remember what all's in here, but I will tell you this. I made sure I put calendula flowers in our tea tonight, though I have been doing that for several nights in a row. There he is.
Everybody that she's like a mad scientist in the kitchen. She's throwing stuff everywhere. I thought she was mad at the moment, but she goes, no, I'm just making tea. So I don't know what I'm drinking. If I start acting strange throughout this chat,
yeah,
she probably put some mushroom sauce in.
It's good, healthy stuff. Hi, Cockeyed. I feel like I never see Mel and Joe anymore. And I'm really sorry because I feel like part of it's my fault. I feel like I'm missing stuff. So I'm really glad that you made it in here tonight. So I was going to say something else. I forgot. Oh, about the tea. Okay, what else is in the tea? Let me think. Well, I've got my special herb blend, which is all, well, everything's legal in Washington these days, but not what you think. It is stuff, all good, healthy stuff I grow in my garden, you know, mostly mint based and dandelions. And like I said, I've got the calendula flowers and cayenne pepper, and I think something else I forgot. There he is. Hello. All right. So
very funny, Wheatree.
That's funny. So, okay. All right. I'm sorry. I wanted to catch up here. Oh, Mel, sorry. You know, is it just me, or does it seem like, even just aside from the whole election, let's just kind of forget about that. Does it seem like everything else in life just all came up in the last couple of weeks for everyone? Just, you know, just crazy, not just being busy, that's part of it, but just a lot of hard things people have been having to deal with. I have my speculations on that, but I won't get into that now. But I just am wondering, with what we've been going through, what I've seen a whole bunch of other people on here going through, some other family of mine going through stuff. It's just, wow, it seems like we're all getting hit hard by stuff. But anyway, we're here, and you know what? We are blessed to be part of this wonderful community. Yes. And
hello, Amanda's Garden.
And it's
or we got the wavy hand.
And anyway,
Homestead.
it's really great to be here because if nothing else, it's a good, happy place for us to be. We can focus on positive things and enjoy each other's company, and yeah, okay, so that's what I thought. All right, well, now I'm confused. Now we've got that clock behind a little bit. I do that on purpose because it always picks up time, but I have to remember to look at this clock, the computer clock, to know where we're at. So now's probably a good time to start digging into the topic, because there's always so much. I like to give people time to get in here, but there's a lot to talk about, even when focusing on just one herb. Now, one of the things, exactly, JM, yes, exactly. And again, sorry, I'm going back to that, but I really appreciate everyone's prayers. I honestly believe those are what helped our recent situation, get turned around. And I pray that it stays that way. It doesn't mean they won't still try to stir up stuff, but anyway. And by the way, how is our sound on the mic? Just let us know. And one of the things I wanted to start off with was talking about, and I just kind of thought of some of this stuff spur of the moment, was how to research and how to learn about medicinal herbs, at least how I did it. Because a lot of people are always like, well, how do you know so much? Well, the information is out there, and sometimes I think, all right, thanks, Joe. Okay, great. Thank you, people. Wonderful. I kind of take it for granted because I've always been one that's good at researching stuff, so I take it for granted that it's just kind of easy for me to find stuff. And usually if someone can't find something even online, they say, hey, will you find this information for me? And I can do it. And so when it comes to the herbs, what I suggest is there's so much I do not know. I mean, I know way less than what's out there to learn, and I'm sure there's people in this very chat right now that know way more than I do. So for me to start getting into learning about herbs, it started with me going, okay, I think our oldest son just came in, and so the dogs are now going ballistic. Sorry. Anyway, so they should stay quiet now that they know it's him, and they're all happy he's here. Anyway, it was okay. When we went out, when I was trying to get us ready to go off of our thyroid medication, it was, I need to find out what we need so that we can start transitioning into that. And it was, okay, what kind of herbs are good for low thyroid? And what kind of supplements do I need for low thyroid? So you type these things in there, like example, herbal remedies for fill in the blank, whatever your health issue is, whether it be toenail fungus, thyroid issues, fibromyalgia, cancer, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is. Look it up. Then don't just go to one site. You want to make sure you go to several sites and cross-reference every single site. And each one may be good, but they're each going to have information that the other one doesn't have. You just somehow made it. I wonder if this right here, sorry. Hang on, people. There you go, the little plus thing. That was bizarre. How did that happen? That is really strange. Okay.
I'm good at
he's going to have to start over
I'm
on
good
his
at pushing
chat.
buttons.
He hit the wrong button. It's like, did you hit the red button? You're never supposed to hit the red button. All right, anyway, so since our oldest son is here, who knows? He may kind of squeeze in here and make a quick appearance. So the cross-referencing, and just keep doing that. Don't trust one site, and get some good books on hand. And I have this linked below. I highly recommend this one because it's one of the easiest ones to come across. I got this on Amazon. I have it linked in the description box. And if you're going to get just one book to start with this one, because I bought this one and her herbal recipe book. And this is, let me read it in case you can't see it, Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs, A Beginner's Guide. But I also bought the recipe book, and really there's a lot of great recipes right here. So it is a great one to start with. Hi BC, and so many other people to come in here. I'm sorry I'm not able to say hi to each one of you individually, but I'm seeing you, Bandana Grandma and everyone. Okay, cool. So, and I just learned in this book a really great way to make your own vitamins when you don't even have to keep buying those gel capsules. And I just stocked up on some more empty gel capsules. So just using herbs and a little bit of honey, it's really great. And you just kind of roll it, and then you dry them out, and you've got your own little chewable vitamins. So it's pretty cool. So that's on the research. Now, if anybody has any questions about other ways, before I forget, another thing I want to add about the research. You got to be careful what pages you go to, because there's a lot of places out there that are going to say anything, and there's a lot of them that are sponsored by big pharma. And usually the clue to that one is if there's anything like MD in the name of the site. You know, I think some of you may know which one I'm talking about. That's a pretty big hint to stay away from that one, because they're not going to promote the herbs. They're not, for obvious reasons. The other thing is if you see a lot of negative things about the herbs, that being toxic or it could cause this and cause that, they'll usually focus more on the negative, and that negative may be really, really minuscule, or you'd have to take the herb in huge quantities. Then go look at who's sponsoring the page. Go look to usually on the right side. You'll see all those ads, and those ads right there will tell you, okay, this is clearly a big pharma funded site. I'm going somewhere else. So anyway, I do, but especially get yourself some good books. Helps if you hold it right side up. Get some good books, and there's lots of good ones out there. I don't have it in here. I have another really good one I found, a vintage one I found at a garage sale for 25 cents. So you can find good ones at garage sales. So anyway, there's how to research. And Patrick, did you come across any questions about the research part?
No. Faye Cartwright was saying that she had bought Rosemary book a few weeks, and so she's still studying it.
Yeah, I do most of my stuff online.
What herbs grow best in cold weather?
I buy the books so I can have them if I don't have internet. Grandma, there are a lot of herbs that will grow, like the Calendula, which is the main topic for tonight as far as herbs. Mine has been, since it's gotten colder, it has been blooming like crazy. And I thought it was more just a summer. Then I got to looking into it more, and I'm like, oh, it'll bloom clear up until it snows. And we usually don't even get snow here, so for all I know, it'll keep blooming through the winter. I don't know. But it's been very cool. This is not my first year growing Calendula, but it's the first year I've been able to grow as much as I have. And so with that, it's caused me to want to, now that I've got a lot, to look into it further. Now, why did I start growing it, and what are all the medicinal properties? So as I said, when I started researching the herbs and growing the herbs I currently have, it was because, okay, I need this because I want an herb that's good for skin issues, and I want an herb that's good for pain, and I want an herb that's going to be good for our thyroid. And well, then you start finding more and more out about each herb, and they all correlate, they all interact in good ways with each other, and they cross over. So every single one has a very long list of medicinal properties. So a lot of people will know the Calendula is good for all kinds of skin trauma, be it burns or scratches or scrapes, eczema, acne, just having good healthy skin. Because of that, I've been adding it to my soaps and my shampoo, and I'm going to, let me show you. Not that one. I started making the infused oil, and so I'm going to give this about a month. I used avocado oil in this. I try to stick with oils that can handle high heat, because olive oil will go rancid if you let it get too warm, and it's nice if you can let these get nice and warm to better infuse the oil. And then I'm going to use this in various things, from my homemade skin cream to making like a salve for cuts, scrapes, even bruises. It's good for bruises too. So that's just the outside of the body. Now I started thinking, so I started reading more. I think one of the dogs needs to go outside. They probably just, did Ryan leave? If Ryan left, they're probably wanting to go out there and see Ryan. But I was hoping he'd stay and just at least wave like Justin did the one night. Oh, he's out there. Okay, I'll probably read some out of the book just to help keep me on track as far as the calendula goes. So anyway, I started thinking, I came across, here's the other thing that you can do when you know what the root of your issue might be. Now, I personally believe, just from what I've been learning for the past several years of studying all this stuff, that a good part of our health problems that we're having, from fibromyalgia to hypothyroidism to cancer, is coming from our gut. And that is because of the environmental toxins. We're being exposed to too many antibiotics that are killing off our healthy gut flora. And then that is also causing gluten issues, because our guts are already in bad. We're not having problems with gluten, but a lot of people seriously do have gluten issues, but it's not really the gluten. It's the problem with the gut itself. You have to heal your gut first. And so if you have candida overgrowth, then that's going to cause all these other issues. You're going to have toenail fungus and athlete's foot. Well, come to find out, calendula is a good antifungal. So you can use it externally for these things, but your toenail fungus and your athlete's foot, a lot of that isn't necessarily an external issue to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with internally because of the candida overgrowth in the gut. So if you can cure that, it will also, and I'm not saying don't use the topical stuff, because I'm still fighting that toenail fungus, because it takes a very, very long time to cure it. But I'm fighting it from the inside and the outside. And so, and I'm sorry, I know I'm missing some stuff in here, and especially since Mr. Rain stepped out. Oh gosh, Hope. I cannot keep up on everybody's videos. There's so many out there I still need to watch and want to watch, but I have not had time, and I'm sorry, everyone, that I have not been able to do that. I thought I saw someone in here that needed prayer, but and yes, we know Tree still needs prayer too. So anyway, sorry. So I shouldn't look at the chat. I'll get too easily distracted. Thank you, Patrick. Getting more lag. Okay, well, it's showing green on my end right now, but then again, yeah, okay. So since it's green here now, I'm going to keep going. So now I talked a little bit about the calendula. I'll probably come back to that. Part of it is my style of doing things. I rabbit trail real easy, but when you have something like just even one single herb like the calendula or the dandelion or whatever it is that has so many incredible medicinal properties, it is hard to not try to get everything you know, to focus on all these different things, because there's so many things it can do for you, and it all goes hand in hand. It all plays together. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was ways to prepare your medicinal herbs. So this will apply to any herbs that you decide to grow. There's so many ways that you can take it, and I've been getting questions on that. And someone asked me, are teas good ways to take it? In, you know, if you don't want to do tinctures, or a tincture is good if you don't like teas. Some people don't like herbal tea. Personally, my favorite way to take my herbs is in my food. Oh, the dogs are being very needy tonight. Okay, we're going red. How are we looking? Okay, I'm just going to keep talking until I see. If we're totally gone, then I'll have to start over. So we have a couple of different types of teas. You have an infusion, which is your standard tea, where you just brew, you know, you make your tea, you let it steep for a few minutes. That's an infusion. And then you have a decoction where it's cooked down and cooked down and cooked down, and it gets very strong. And typically the decoction is used for things that are more woody, you know, and roots, you know, like licorice root, marshmallow root, dandelion root, that kind of stuff. So you're going to want to use a decoction for that. And my tea is somewhere in the middle between being an infusion and a decoction, because I like to let it brew for a long time, but I don't cook it all the way down to the point where I really have to add water to it again. Not usually, just buffering a little. Okay, thanks, Teresa. Yeah, I think it's just going to keep going back and forth, because I've noticed it's the same, you know, it goes green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red, whatever. At least we get all the pretty colors. So, I know, I'm a dork, so. Okay, so that's the teas. Then you have your tinctures, which are the strongest form, where you need just a little bit, the strongest way to make your herbal remedies. And the very strongest is using a high proof alcohol, vodka, rum, brandy, anything that's 80 to 100 proof is what you're looking at. And then you're only going to need a little bit, because that's really going to pull out a lot of those medicinal benefits in the herbs. And I do have a video out on how to do that. Now for me, I use what I call an extract. Hey, Deep South. Just because I don't know if I can technically call it a tincture, but in the book here, she even says that tinctures are made with vinegar, alcohol, or glycerin. I typically use homemade vinegar because it's cheap and pretty much free, since I'm using fruit scraps and a lot of stuff from my own garden, and then rainwater. And then I have my vinegar, and then I take that and then I make my tincture or extract out of that, and I find it works really good. The headache remedies I've made out of our feverfew and catnip, with especially the combination with the vinegar, works really good. So just find out what's good for you. Now when it comes to vanilla extract, I'm still using the vodka, because obviously who wants vinegar flavored vanilla in their baked goods? And then if you saw my vanilla one, the making one, I'm using the spiced rum combined with the glycerin. I think that's going to be awesome when it's ready. So okay, so I talked about, and what was the other thing? Oh yeah, and then I mentioned the pills, which she talks about in this book, and I thought, what a great idea. And that's a good way to get kids to take it, because you're not going to want to give the kids a high proof alcohol, even if it's just a tiny bit. You may not want to give them that. I know when I was a kid, I hated NyQuil because of the alcohol taste in it. It just made me gag. I didn't get it. I remember my dad going, "I'll drink it for you." Whatever. Anyway, I just thought it was nasty, and that stuff's nasty anyway. You'd be better off taking. Oh, and I wanted to show you. So one of the things you can do with your tinctures when you make them is you can do this for storage. I bought this, it's just a swing top beer bottle that I bought at a garage sale. I bought a few of them, and that particular one is our cold and flu remedy, and it's elderberry with cinnamon and clove and ginger, I believe, and it tastes pretty dang good. So also I just realized, stupidly. I've been throwing out the maple syrup bottles, you know, the organic maple syrup. They're cute little bottles, and I'm like, I know I need these for something. It dawned on me the other day that I can use them for storing tinctures in. So now I know what I'll do with them. I'll be saving them from now on. So, okay, so that's, I did get that covered. Good. And now, I'm hoping I'm not, if there's any questions regarding, we'll get to questions on other topics in a bit. If there's any questions regarding the things I talked about, let's see. Okay, the cold weather ones.
No, that's already been answered.
Okay, I'm not sure if I really got to it.
Do you have to have fresh calendula to infuse, or can you use dried or dehydrated?
Excellent question. I use dried. When I first started getting into it, I assumed fresh ones would be better, like fresh straight from the garden, because it's fresh, right? Well, it's actually best if you dehydrate all your herbs before you infuse them in the tea or your tincture or your extract. And the reason for that is you want to pull out all the water content out of the herbs first, so that then when you put your vodka, your rum, your vinegar, your glycerin, whatever it is that you're going to use, or even your water for making a tea or a decoction, then you're not adding extra moisture to it. With that, you know, it's making a stronger solution, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So dried is best. You can use fresh, but dried is best for making those. So, okay, any other questions on that particular thing I may have missed?
I may have missed a bunch.
Okay.
Run around herding dogs.
Yeah, sorry, the dogs. Well, and then Ryan came in and they got all excited. So, and see, now I wouldn't call myself an herbalist or an apothecary or anything like that. I'm just someone who's been discovering this, learning this stuff as I go. And I'm thinking Wheatree probably has a lot more information on stuff than I do. But so what I'm sharing with you are things that I'm learning, or I have learned, and I'm using currently, or I will be using soon. And so I wanted to read just a little bit on the calendula, just some of the medicinal benefits, and I'll just read right out of Rosemary Gladstar's book. And again, you can find that in the description box on medicinal benefits. So the flower, see, it is a powerful vulnerary, I never can say that word right, but anyway, skin, you know, like I said, for the skin, healing wounds by promoting cell repair and growth. The flower is also a noted antiseptic and anti-inflammatory. Applied topically or used internally, it can help keep infections at bay, and it's a common ingredient in creams, salves, and ointments for treating bruises, burns, sores, skin ulcers, skin infections, and rashes. It's also good for cradle cap, diaper rash, and other skin irritations. So it's very safe. Oh, and it's very non-toxic. You can't get too much calendula, apparently. Okay, so some herbs you can get too much of. Calendula is not one of them. So it's a very, very safe herb. And it grows extremely easy. I cannot believe, you see the little picture on each side? That's just a small little gathering of calendula. I gathered so much calendula, and the more you pick it, the more it blooms, and it gets a good sticky resin on it, and that resin in there, when it's sticky like that, you know it's full of medicinal properties. So, you know, think rosemary, it gets very, you know, it gets that resin on it. I love that when I pick it and then I smell it. And so calendula tea is also useful both internally and externally as a wash or a poultice to moderate fever, keeping it from rising too high. The flower's mild astringent and antiseptic properties are helpful for treating gastrointestinal problems such as ulcers. Mixed with marshmallow root, what do you know? And cramps, mixed with valerian and cramp bark. I never even heard of that one. We do have valerian root, and that one does work. At least it did for me. I took some one night, I couldn't sleep, and boy, it just knocked me out like that. So, and that one I did make as a tincture, so that helped too, because I used vodka in that one. But I only took this much, an ounce. Okay, so I'm kind of skipping through. Okay, another one I wanted to cover was it's a good for as a lymph cleanser, especially if you combine it with some of your other ones like red clover and chickweed, and it helps move congestion out of the body. And it's very soothing. And so one of the things I've been starting to do new with the calendula recently, because since I'm still harvesting so much, is adding it to dishes. And it really has a pleasant flavor. It's very mild. I've been eating the flowers straight off of the, just picking them and eating them, and adding it to what did I make? That chicken pot pie, and I made something the other night. I don't know. I forget. But a lot of stuff. So there's so many ways you can take your herbs. Certain herbs, obviously, you don't want to cook with, like the feverfew, which is horribly nasty and bitter. So, okay. So that there's still so much more you can learn about calendula. So if you're interested in growing it, again, it grows very easy. I believe it would probably, because of its nature, because of the type of flower that it is, I would believe it would grow pretty good in most climates. Remember, we have a very temperate, very mild climate. We don't get hard freezes, and we don't get, not that it never freezes here, but it doesn't get super cold. And you crossing your fingers? And it doesn't get super hot typically. So it's mostly just wet here. That's why we're called rain country. So,
we'll get freezes, but they're probably,
yeah.
if it freezes for about a week, it might.
We did have that freak ice storm years and years ago.
It might freeze about 6 inches, maybe 6, 7, 8 inches.
But yeah, so anyway, and I want to say hi, Sharon. I've been missing you a lot lately too, so I want to make sure I say hi to you. A lot of people like Teresa and Sharon and Cockeyed Homestead haven't been seeing you guys around as much, and yeah, I know we've all been busy, and some of us ill, and some of us dealing with a whole bunch of different things. So okay, so any other questions or any important questions on this particular herb, or what any of the other herbal related stuff I talked about that you would like me to answer? I'm thankful that We is in here. She's got a lot of great information. So hi, Sodbuster. So, and remember, I'll have the show. I don't make it public right away. I like to check it in the morning and see if there's anything that, like these long weird pauses at the beginning, to cut out, and just so you get a clean play right from the beginning. And then I'll make it public in the morning. So, okay, so I'm guessing there's no more questions on, they're herb related for us. So.
Well, I'm slow, but I get there. But if there's any questions, I probably missed them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If there's any questions we may have missed, make sure to put them in all caps.
And repeat yourself if you don't get answered.
Yeah.
It's not that we're not that we're ignoring you. It's just I either miss them or.
Yeah, and I can't talk and read questions at the same time.
But she actually talks and reads questions better than I can just focus on reading questions and getting questions answered or written down for her to answer.
Okay. No, Barbara, I don't. Maybe somebody in the chat might. Again, I'm just telling you, just so you guys know, I am certainly far from being the end-all in knowledge on herbs. The herbs I know most about are the ones I currently use for our own health issues. But now that we're where we want to be health-wise, I've been branching out, trying to learn more so that I can help reach other people. So mostly starting with people that I know really well, that, like diabetes and stuff like that. And even that, I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. So, but I will try, Barbara, if someone doesn't answer that one, I will try to remember to write the pancreatitis. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Write that down, and I'll try to remember to research that, see if I can touch on it in next week's show. And even if you have to miss next week's show, you'll still be able to see it, when it goes up the next day. So, it still seemed like there was something else. Oh, I want to show you too. Even though this isn't calendula, this is cayenne pepper infused oil. It looks really thick right now because I've got it shaken up, but you can see the cayenne pepper there clumped at the bottom. And what I do with this is I use this in my homemade muscle rub, which is right here. You see that there, and there's still some of the pepper at the bottom. I try to get some of the pepper out once it's infused really good, but that's where it gets that. Of course, this bottle is green. This bottle, by the way, see, there's so many great bottles out there. This is organic lemon juice bottle, and I love the bottle, and you can buy these little corks at your local hardware store. They come in a zillion different sizes. So anyway, and one of these days I'll talk about what all's in there. It's mostly essential oils and stuff, but anyway, so okay, what can I use for sore gums after being at the dentist? Clove essential oil. Probably not straight. You'll probably want to dilute it and put it in a carrier oil like avocado or grapeseed or olive oil. Sharon loves her bowls. Did you see that?
I did. Thank you, Sharon. We appreciate that. I really enjoy making those, by the way. And
Sharon.
What'd you say?
Okay, look at the size of this. Who buys wine in a bottle that small? This is a lemon juice bottle.
Huh.
Smarty pants. Oh, and then the other thing I do with the cayenne pepper infused oil is I use that for my hair tonic, and and to rub into my scalp, and that mixed with some lavender and rosemary and sage essential oils has really helped my hair start growing again. What you guys may not know is my hair used to be twice as thick as it is now, and twice as long. And like a lot of women around the country, especially in our area, suddenly a few years ago everybody just started losing their hair and by the gobs. And my hair, I'm blessed with a lot of hair. So now it just looks like a normal person's hair, but
So when she was working on these hair tonics, I used to have a head full of hair, but I was like in the what do you call it, quality control, or you call that the
yeah, he's my guinea pig.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm part of the guinea pig group here.
Oh, the tea bag. Somebody, and I don't know if someone was actually asking about that, but I meant to mention that in that video I made about the herbal tea. Super easy to make your own tea bag. Just don't use a fabric that's pretty, because it's going to look like this. It's going to get stained.
No matter what.
This was white. It was white with little flowers on it. I just used it because it was a cotton fabric I had on hand. And all I did was just cut out a rectangle and sewed the two sides together, folded it over and sewed a casing. I don't know if you can see that. And then and you want to use cotton, took a cotton piece of yarn and crocheted just a chain and put it through there. You don't want to use acrylic yarn. Besides, you don't want that infusing into your tea. But this is organic cotton right here, and that way it's not going to melt. And then I just put all my tea in there, and I made it nice and big because I use it in that little pot. I'm not using it for just a cup. So yeah, really easy to make. If you sew, if you don't sew, but you could even sew this pretty quickly by hand. It wouldn't take long to do that because you just have here and here, because this part's folded over. And then you have this stitch around to make your casing. So, and just thread it through with a safety pin or whatever works best for you. See, I don't make the hair tonics to sell. I've just been making it for myself. But I am going to be, when I start, eventually I'll make a video on that. Some of the stuff, like I said before, I try to make the videos when I need it. And as you can see, I still have quite a bit of muscle rub, so it might be a while before I even get to this one. But I can tell you some of what's in it, but I forget because I have so many essential oils in here, plus menthol crystals. Very interesting. You can find menthol crystals on Amazon, and yeah, it's got a little bit of everything in there. This stuff works great. And we put it on sore muscles. My shoulders get tight a lot because I get stressed out. You'll see me walking around like this. I'll see it in my videos that I'm still doing this. And so I rub it into my shoulders, and it really helps. So yeah, I'm in Washington, Pacific Northwest. I'm in the wet part. A lot of people think all of Washington is wet. No, there's a line. It's called the Cascades. If you live east of the Cascades, like I did when I was growing up, the first 20 years of my life, you live in hot, dry, you get 4 seasons, so you get a real cold, snowy winter, and you get a very dry, hot summer. And I went from that over to the opposite extreme. And actually the part of Washington that is really wet is much smaller than the part that's real dry and even almost deserty. So that was a side issue. And
recipe for muscle rub. Jan was asking.
Okay, so again, I was starting to talk about that. I cannot remember what all's in there. I'll have to write everything down because I'm going to have to go through all my essential oils. It is a crud load of essential oils in an avocado oil base. Again, the reason I like to go with the avocado oil, or I think grapeseed oil has a fairly high heat content, but anything I'm going to do like this that I want to store or may even use in where it's going to stay warm a lot, I try to use one that's very shelf stable, like avocado oil or coconut oil. But coconut, if I want it, if I don't want it to be hard, I use the avocado oil. So eventually I'll get into that. Like I said, I've got the menthol crystals, I have camphor, I have peppermint, eucalyptus, oregano oil. Everything's in there. So that's actually pretty much good for just about anything. If you're feeling whatever, so you rub that on there, woohoo, you feel better. Yeah, so very temperate. Yeah, very, very rainforest. Troll Forge, I was thinking about that too. I have a little bit of arnica oil. It's just another one of those ones I mean to look into and see how well it will grow here. So, hi Diane, thank you. Do I make coffee from the roots? Well, I know you can make coffee from the roots of dandelion. Some people do. I kind of do in the fact that I use the dandelion root in my tea. I didn't in tonight's tea, but I did in last night's tea. So I do, from the dandelions in my garden. And maybe next week I'll focus more on dandelions. I'm still want to get to that. We'll see. I'm gonna play it by ear. I may not know till that day, till next Thursday for sure what herb I'm gonna focus on. But it'll kind of depend on what feedback I get from people and what I'm currently using. That's why I decided to go with the calendula, because it's one I'm using a lot right now because I'm harvesting it a lot. And I have so many pint-sized jars of it dried and sealed up and put up. So now what I'm picking, I'm trying to use right away, immediately in my teas and so on.
Do you make coffee from roots?
Yeah, I think I did answer that one. If that was talking about mostly I'm more thinking more of a tea. Oh, and here's one that I used to grow that I want to grow again, but I killed it because I moved it into a bad spot, is wintergreen. Wintergreen is an interesting plant. The leaves and the berries are edible. It can be a little bit harsh on the stomach apparently if you eat too much of the leaves. And they do taste like wintergreen, thus that's where, yeah. And it's just a little low growing shrub that gets red berries on it, and it just has a really nice taste. In fact, I think I like the taste of the leaves better than the berries themselves. The berries aren't sweet at all, but they do taste like wintergreen.
How about poultice for bad sores?
Okay, that was a good thing that Troll Forge brought up. Camphor and menthol crystals, one or both of those is an instant asthma attack for many. So if you have asthma, that would be something to think about to if you're wanting to make it. So thank you for bringing that up. Mr. Rain Man. He drives slow in the driveway. He's a good driver.
Sodbuster, thank you.
Oh, the wash station, okay. Yeah, I really want to grow. Wintergreen is more of a ground cover ginger. I had it, and I had this area out front that for the longest time, every time I planted anything in it, it just died. And I'm like, oh, I know the wintergreen will do good here because it doesn't like a lot of sun, and that area doesn't get a lot of sun. killed it. But this last year, I put this much, a layer this thick of horse manure from up the road, and now everything is growing in there, and I'm so happy finally after all these years. Why I didn't do that before, I don't know. So the wash station, okay, I did finally use the off-grid laundry station. Now there's a picture of it. A lot of you saw that picture. That was the one that was in the thumbnail. That was the one I took after he got all built in there, and it looks all pretty. I used it today for the first time. We still had a few more things we wanted to do before we used it, and that's why it took us this long to finally try it. And you'll see the little white hoses. What we ended up doing was buying a couple of more hoses, and and a splitter, and he connected the two white hoses to another hose that we could run it out the door and outside to drain. So we did that, and then he also took another hose, because right across from the setup that you see in that picture is our electric washer and dryer. And so right behind the washing machine is where the water is, right? So he got another splitter and put it on there, and another hose, so that I could just run it right from there and fill my buckets up right there, and I don't have to bring the hose in from outside to fill it up. And that worked out pretty good. We still have some tweaking to do. Now you look at the bottom, and anybody who's ever run a wringer knows the water will go everywhere. It doesn't just go, which I suspected it might, but I figured I was going to have to try it before I knew for sure. So sure enough, first thing that went through there, half the water went back into the tub, and the rest of it went straight down on the floor. And I was kind of ready for that. So then what I did is I found I have a huge baking dish that I never use anymore, because I never cook that big anymore. And I stuck it under there, and it fit perfect right under where the wringer is. And then to make it, and that helped, that caught a lot of the water. But what he did was even more genius. He took this chunk of, what was it? Tin?
It's a piece of flashing.
Okay.
Aluminum flashing.
Yeah, aluminum flashing. And you want to go get that? You got to see this thing. Anyway, he did this today. Yeah, so I put the pan under the wringer, but the problem is the water still, it's kind of a pain getting that in and out of there. And I'd still like to see the water actually run back into the tubs. And so what he did, huge difference. Now most of the water goes back into either one of the tubs, and the pan is more of a safety precaution. So here's the little doohickey. So I'll show you that, and I'll put the picture back up so you can see.
So this right here goes in between the two tubs, and so this side right here goes into one tub, and this side right here goes into the other tub. And so when the wringer is actually working, the water will cascade on one side or the other. Actually, that particular wringer was made for actually fastening right to the tub that you're washing with. And so I think that might be part of the problem. Other thing is the old timers just used to basically use those things out on a porch or outside. They didn't really use them inside. So we did this little mod here with aluminum flashing, and so that drapes over.
I'll put the picture back up. Now so you can see it actually doesn't it go onto the wringer?
Well, it goes.
They're not going to be able to see the cursor.
So if you look at where the handle is, folks, just underneath this little wavy looking side support, the one side of the flashing goes into this tub and drapes over the little board on the other side, and then back into the other tub. So it basically kind of makes a little A-frame in there, so the water doesn't cascade down the center.
Do you need to check that?
Yeah, check it.
Okay. So anyway, so I wanted to grab that little piece, and I wanted to show. Let's see, what did he do with it? So I don't know how well you can see the shaping here. You see these creases? So that helped channel the water as well, so it didn't just, you know, go off to the sides. It was just, you know, I'm so lucky. I don't believe in luck. I am so blessed to have a man that knows how to do stuff like this and just can think up stuff like that. So it worked really good. And Becky, I have not had time at all to get into spinning, and it's really frustrating because I'm so looking forward to trying it. But between all the crochet orders I've had, I'm still working on that fox set. Normally I can get a set done in a day. I can get a hat and gloves done in a day. But things have been so busy that I've just been having to pick, and I've got more skirt orders coming in. The skirt orders, the apron orders, the crochet orders. Currently this is my last crochet order for now. I don't know how long that'll be, but typically this is when they start coming in anyway, those types of things. And then making the videos, and oh my goodness, people, those you content creators know what I'm talking about, the time it takes to edit. And his videos, let me tell you something. I take 3 to 4 hour videos, and because that's how long his typically are, and not all of them, but a lot of those woodworking ones would be 3 to 4 hours, and I have to try to squeeze them down to a half an hour or 45 minutes. And now I'm trying to figure out, okay, now I'm going to see if I can break them into smaller sections than that. So it's takes a lot of editing time. So okay. Oh, okay, so we have I'm glad somebody brought up Big Family Homestead. Don't forget, when we're done here, to go on over to Big Family Homestead. They're right after us with their Tech Talk. And okay, I gotta remember to look at this clock. And then after that is Full Spectrum Survival, and I cannot remember if someone's on after Full Spectrum tonight, so maybe somebody can drop that in there, or put in the WeTree's really good about dropping in the links. So the link to the show times for the Homestead Network.
So if anybody's curious about how fast I work in the shop, it's because all this whatever she is feeds me. It must be in the tea.
Yeah, he really does move that fast.
Yeah,
of all
some of these
goodies.
things that she actually puts in, you know, she makes them in a pill form. She sneaks this stuff into dinners and all kinds of stuff. So I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know when I get started on a project, you know, I don't know.
Good job, Teresa. Thanks. That's cool. Yes, yeah. It's kind of fun watching yourself when in fast motion. It's like, wow, that looks really good when you see it sped up like that.
It looks a lot easier when it's sped up, and you know.
Okay, I was thinking Big Bear was on. Thank you, Simply Circus. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right, because it's the special Marine Corps birthday show. Cool, very cool. All right, thank you for dropping that in there. And I'm so glad Teresa said she made her very first batch of bar soap, and nobody got hurt. Now I tell you, one time I did get a tiny little crystal of, you know, because I was started making the soap. It was a hot day. I didn't want to wear the long sleeves. I had my rubber gloves on, but a little piece of lye got right there, and I didn't even notice it at first. I'm like, it's starting to burn, but I had that vinegar handy, and gone just like that. So the vinegar, make sure you keep that white vinegar handy when you're making your soap, just in case. That way, you know, but you gotta wear eye protection, because I don't think you're gonna want to spray vinegar in your eye if you get lye in there. I think, yeah, you'd just be better off to wear that protection.
So Teresa Dean was asking, how did you learn to work the wood like you do? Well, time, patience, tenacity, all the above. I've always liked to work with wood and metal, so you might see something in the future, me working with a little bit of metal and
I'm
a little mechanicing and stuff. But
I'd like to see him do a video, and I haven't asked him this yet, so this is going to be a, you know, I'm just dropping the bomb on him right now. I'd like to see him make a video on how he made the food dehydrator with the angle iron. So, because I think that would be a cool item for him to make and maybe even sell for people who are looking for a dehydrator to use on their wood stove. So, now our youngest son is in here. Ryan was too chicken to make an appearance.
Oh, yeah. I'll second him.
Oh yeah. So anyway, okay, did your father teach you, Patrick?
In some respects, a lot of times when I was pretty much watching Dad work, that's how I learned a lot. How I, basically I learned how to cook and do some mechanicking and stuff like that from watching my dad.
Honestly, I learned how to make
a lot of the things that I do. I kind of perfected in beyond Dad. I learned by myself, and anyway, go ahead, Mom.
Sorry, Patrick. What I was going to say is that, I didn't grow up hillbilly. He did. So I didn't know anything about biscuits and gravy. I knew how to make biscuits because I learned to make biscuits at a really young age because I loved biscuits and my mom didn't make them. So I taught myself. But I didn't know anything about biscuits and gravy. I knew people ate it, but I was like, why would you put gravy on a perfectly good biscuit? Well, obviously, I had to learn how to make the gravy. And we learned together because he said, well, this is how my mom did it. And she didn't teach him. He just watched how she did it, and he remembered. And so we worked on it together, and then I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool. So if you're just observant, you can learn a lot from watching people. So, okay,
frying pan work. That's everything fried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fried and lard.
Didn't your grandma from North Carolina cook everything in grease?
Yep, pig lard. And the way she made coffee was, he'd come into the house and she'd have snuff.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Snuff running out the sides of her mouth, and her family had 10 kids, and all of them running around barefoot and packing water and 1,000 chickens and all this, and you'd come anyway. You'd come over there and she'd ask you if you wanted a cup of coffee, and you'd hesitantly say yes because you didn't want to be rude. And so the way she would make coffee is that she would just add to the pot water and coffee grounds and just let it boil. And so sometimes you'd get coffee grounds in your coffee. So you would eat half of your coffee, you'd drink part of it, and then you'd eat the other half. So.
Well, we've got only a couple more minutes, and we should probably get off here. Okay, I want to read what Teresa had to say because I knew she had something. Oh, Patrick, that just reminded me of my dad's mom. She dipped snuff.
All right, on.
Yeah.
Little round can that's about 2.5 inches tall and maybe 1.5 inches round, little white can. I can't remember what the name of that snuff was, but yeah, it was. She'd chew snuff. Yeah, you'd pretty much stand up a silver spoon in the coffee cup, and you'd draw it out here in just a few minutes, and that thing would be half dissolved. It's so strong. But that's how I like strong coffee at any rate.
Well, I have to tell you, the only thing I don't like about doing my own live show is I can't get in there and really talk to you guys as much. I miss so much stuff. But I enjoy talking to you this way too. So I really appreciate y'all coming in here and being a part of our life and the little bit that we do around here. And it's so encouraging to us. And as we're learning and growing, and we learn a lot from you guys as well. And really loving the community and appreciate it so much. So thank you. And again, thank you for putting up with my political rants. I am so sorry. I can't shut up. Anyway, but that's me.
I got to pretty much stay hid
warts
around.
And all.
I pretty much got to stay hid around here 2 weeks before and after.
And then
the
with
election.
the Italian hands going all the time, right? So anyway, we're going to get off here, so don't forget to go on over to Big Family Homestead, and then Full Spectrum Survival, and then Big Bear Homestead. All right, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week, or we'll see you in the chats later, I'm sure. Bye.